Back on Spotlight, the final month of the WNBA regular season has arrived, which means it's officially time for us to see those playoff pushes. We're looking at the very latest CBS Sports WNBA Power Rankings. The Lynx, to no surprise, they remain in that top spot. The Dream coming in at number 2, the Liberty coming in at number 3. The Aces, the biggest riser here in the top 10, rising up 3 spots to number 5. The Fever, one of the bigger fallers here, falling 3 spots to number 6 as they have just been plagued by injuries this season. Let's welcome in our WNBA analyst, Terrika Foster-Brasby, to discuss. Terrika, no surprise, the Lynx still in that top spot, only 5 losses on the season. It feels like they are running away with that number 1 seed.
Yeah, the Lynx aren't going anywhere, right? And a big reason why they are still sitting in that spot is because of how seamless Dejanay Carrington has stepped in. You know, with Napheesa Collier being sidelined, Carrington has just been a defensive spark plug. She's hounding ball handlers. She's jumping to passing lanes. She's setting the tone physically on the perimeter. She's just really been a defensive game changer. And that energy has really helped to fuel this Minnesota team and keep it afloat while they figure things out offensively. So, you know, for this to be a team that's chasing a finals run, this stretch has been really good for them. They're building chemistry. They're tightening up on their defensive rotations. They're getting in a playoff mode. That's what Cheryl Reeve wanted to do. That's exactly what they're doing. And they're doing a great job of staying intact and keeping that number 1 seed afloat.
And even though Fee is hurt, she is still a very, very heavy favorite to win MVP. And back to Carrington, by the way, in her debut with the Lynx, she said, hey, this is the most fun I've had playing basketball in a really long time. So if that's what fun looks like, hey, they're going to take it, right? Let's go to the Liberty. They move up a spot, now number 3, and they're a team dealing with their fair share of injuries. They don't have Stewie, but do you think this team can kind of continue to stay afloat, find success when you think of the other pieces around them, like Sabrina, for example, to still have that success in Stewie's absence?
That's exactly it. It is Sabrina Ionescu, right? She's been playing like a true MVP contender. And we've seen this from Sabrina before, but it's kind of one of those next level things where, you know, I watched her last week play against Connecticut where she had 16 points in the first quarter. And I said, Sabrina is unconscious, right? But the road ahead is no joke. And I literally mean the road ahead because it is all on the road with Stewie still being out nursing that bone bruise. She's not expected back until maybe the end of the month. And New York has a very packed schedule this August. They've got some back-to-backs against the Sparks and the Aces. They've got some games against the Lynx in just 4 days. They've got matchups against teams that are fighting for a playoff spot, and Phoenix and Atlanta are right on their heels. So this stretch could really decide how high or how low the Liberty could climb or fall before Stewie returns. So it's going to be incredibly important that all of their pieces, like the Sabrinas, the Jonquel Jones, and the Natasha Clouds, continue to play at the level they're playing.
And the Liberty and the Lynx facing off on Saturday on CBS, by the way. Let's go to the Mercury. They're up 1 spot, going from number 5 to number 4. Still have a chance at the 2 seed here. What's impressed you most about them?
I don't know if you've heard this name before, but Alyssa Thomas.
I think so.
Alyssa Thomas is, I mean, she might be somebody you've heard of, but Phoenix is trending up, and it's because of her. 3 straight triple doubles, never been done before in WNBA history, and she's doing it against playoff teams, right? Not teams that are at the bottom. She's doing it against the best in this league. So yeah, Fee may be the MVP frontrunner, but Alyssa Thomas is right on her neck. The Mercury really did a great job of picking up some big wins before they fell to before they fell to Atlanta, but the momentum is still there. The chemistry that I'm seeing between Alyssa and Satu Sabali and Kalia Copper, it's starting to click. Then they added another future Hall of Famer in Dewana Baumner, who just makes this team that much more dangerous. This is a different Phoenix team that we saw from a week ago, and they are continuing to get better. I think they are probably the second scariest team heading into the playoffs.
All right, I was going to say Alyssa Thomas has been like a triple-double machine there, 3-1 to win the MVP. We saw A'ja Wilson on that list as well, 25-1. And overall, it's been an up-and-down season for the Aces. They've now rattled off, 4 straight wins? So here come the Aces, Terrika?
The Aces is out. They said, wait a minute, y'all forgot who we were, right? Y'all forgot we were champions. You guys forgot that I am a 3-time MVP in A'ja Wilson. And yes, her numbers for MVP, her odds have increased over the last week, specifically coming off of a 30-20 performance. Again, a historic night for the W, because we're seeing players do things we've never done before, but just solidifying exactly why you can never count this Aces team out, because A'ja Wilson can put the team on her back and carry them as far as she would like them to go. But they are still going to have some questions surrounding their depth, their offensive production off the bench, and whether or not they'll be able to tune up this defense before playoff season starts.
All right, and kicking things off on Wednesday, a matchup against the Liberty. Finally, let's go to the Fever right now because they fall to number 6, Terrika, and this is a team that has just been plagued with injuries this season. They've played more games without Caitlin Clark than they've played with her. Are the injuries too much to overcome as a whole for this team at this point in the season?
I don't know if they're too much to overcome, but I will say the way that the other teams are continuing to get better and get stronger towards this last stretch of the season, it is going to be a difficult challenge for a Fever team that we all thought would be one of the top contenders for a championship. As you mentioned, Clark is already out, but now they're dealing with even more key players sideline. No Ari McDonald, no Sydney Colson. That's a big blow for this team that had been building momentum leading up until this point. So without their floor general, who do you look to? Well, you're looking to Kelsey Mitchell now to try to continue to keep some rhythm on the offensive end. Their depth is being tested right now as well. Again, the talent is still there, so it's not about them being an untalented team or not having the pieces, specifically when you've got a Kelsey Mitchell and you still have the rookie of the year in Aaliyah Boston from 2023. But until they can get healthy, it is really going to be a fight for them to stay in the top of the standings.
All right, Terrika, before we let you go, I want to circle back to the Liberty and the Lynx. We mentioned that showdown on Saturday on our network. The Liberty, they have been the favorites, right, to run away and repeat according to odds makers. But the Lynx are solid. Even if Fee's hurt, they're still looking like they're going to be that #1 seed. Who do you have more faith in at this point of the season? If it is these two teams once again duking it out for a title, who would you give the slight edge to?
I know you like putting me on the spot and getting me in trouble, Becky, but it is absolutely, I think at this point I have just a tad bit more faith in the Lynx. First of all, it's really difficult to beat a team 3 times, and the amount of times that these two teams have played over the last week, this would be their 3rd meeting, and I think it's tough, again, to beat a team 3 times, right? But the injury bug has been kicking everybody, and it's definitely kicking New York. So I got a little bit more faith in Minnesota going into this matchup to go ahead and get the W.
I said slight edge, because we know the margin for error is ever so slim, but come on, right. Terrika. I know you're best when you're on the spot, girl. I have faith in you. Terrika, we appreciate it. A pleasure, as always, breaking down the latest WNBA Power Rankings, which, by the way, you can find those on CBSSports.com. Getting a look at the odds to win it all. The Lynx, they are now the favorites, +165. For a good portion of the season, it was the Liberty on top, and now slightly behind them at +170. We have more Spotlight coming your way ahead.